Managing Director at Market Gauge Group, Michelle Snyder. Michelle, so we know governments are forcing people to buy these things. This administration wants to pump $175 billion in there. All the different hurdles aside that we just heard, there are going to be some winners in this space. I mean, it's either the vehicles, the charging stations. I know you drilled down deeply. What are you seeing as potential winners in this EV space?
Well, we always have to start with Tesla because that's the quintessential EV stock. And it's holding still its uptrend as long as it holds 535. If today's high is taken out tomorrow, I would think if you can get a $30, $40 risk in Tesla, that's always a good thing. I'm also looking at the Chinese company, XL. Right now, that also made a low of 540. If it gets over 7, I think you have a decent risk there. And finally, I'd be looking at Ford. Good old American Ford has trucks now going EV. And that, too, is in a very long-term reversal trend to the upside, could see about $14 or $15. And, of course, all of this depends on the overall market.
Right, right. And, speaking of reversals in overall market, folks, the losses in the market almost doubled when the show began off the FOMC meeting. Now we're back to where we started. We've reversed here. We're turning up just like the overall market. And I want to ask you about that, Michelle. Indices down a lot recently, but it's been a light volume. Buying yields today really didn't take off, certainly prior to FOMC. The VIX really, it's up, but it's nowhere near what you would think considering the amount of fear in the headlines. How afraid should investors be, or should we be more opportunistic right now in this environment?
I'd say a little bit of both. I wouldn't be afraid, but I would certainly be cautious. Even though the indices are hanging tough, they're still on that. In fact, you and I have talked about this 319 level in NASDAQ, the Qs. That's so pivotal right now, that has to hold. But I'd also watch the junk bonds. It's sort of the secret playground of the Fed. And if they really are going to do any kind of tapering, you're going to see it there. You don't want to see those junk bonds, JNK being the symbol, fall apart. That would get me a lot more cautious.
Before I let you go, and I got less than a minute, thoughts on crypto, what's happening in the crypto universe right now?
Well, right now, I think that it really fell in terms of Bitcoin to a good support level at around 32, 33. I know it broke it briefly, but it's back through. So I like to look at other levels here. So through 40, I'd be optimistic. Looking at Ethereum, it held 2,500 okay. Through 3,000, optimistic. XRP, 130 would be my number to get more optimistic. All right, hashtag buy the dip. Michelle, thank you very much. So as